So my 14-year-old self wanted to cheer her up, and I sent her over a note, and that's really the day that our friendship started. It also set the foundation for how our friendship continued to operate, picking each other up during the difficult times and celebrating each other during our successes. And in the past 25 plus years, you can imagine there were plenty of both. Jocelyn set the standard high for my relationships because she taught me the meaning of reciprocal friendship and what loyalty truly means. I will never forget the lesson she gave me during my divorce, which that first picture made me laugh because my boyfriend's sitting here, I'm not married anymore. I was saying, Lynn, stop saying you are fine. Tell me that you need me. I need you to need me too. And it feels good to be a friend back, so you need to let me. And quite honestly, that's how our friendship continued. Even in her final days, she was the first text I would receive in the morning. And when I would see her, she always asked about me first, even though the difficulties that I was facing could never compare to what she was going through. And she always stood true to the motto that our friendship came before the cancer. We talked about everything. As a matter of fact, just a week before she passed away, during one of our visits, she looked at me and she knew I was having a bad day, despite my fake smile and trying to act like everything was okay. And she gave me the look that meant you need to spill it. And so I did. And she held my hand. I looked at her and I said, this is what I'm going to miss. It's this authentic connection that nobody needs to know about or needs to understand, but this vulnerability that just needs no words. You always just know. And with Joss, there was never any judgment. There may have been a lot of unsolicited advice at times, but she celebrated every milestone and defeat with the same care and conviction. She was a salt of the earth friend, but not just to me, to every one of the girls sitting at that table. And they all have their own unique friendship, and they could be up here just as easily as I am telling their story. We got our first apartment together out at ASU with our other two best friends, Kim and Heather, right around the corner from us. We worked at a law firm together. We were cocktail waitresses at Rock and Rodeo. And we went on spring break trips that I won't go into details about because her parents are here. And I was her hairdresser. I did her highlights in our bathroom, compliments of $5 Clairol. And we were positive that we looked amazing. But looking back on the pictures, I'm quite sure she should have ended our friendship because her hair was bright yellow. And when she joined me to work at FedEx after college, she met our coworker and friend, Kevin. And when she decided that he was the one on our sales conference trip to Florida, she was absolutely right. He had been her rock through everything. I'm so glad I've gotten to witness their love story from the very beginning. And 6 months into their relationship in 2003, she noticed her stomach was sticking out. Something wasn't quite right, but she was healthy, and we were only 24, so we figured it was something simple. I'll never forget the phone call. I was driving, and she said, Lindsay, there's a huge mass on her. She had surgery to remove a tumor the size of an Nerf football, and it left a huge peace sign scar on her belly. And when the pathology came back, we both got fairly obsessed researching a cancer nobody had ever heard of. It's called amphicrine, very rare. And she found an oncologist in LA, so we took a road trip out there. And after a lengthy appointment and scan, she found out her cancer had already metastasized to her lungs. I remember taking a long walk with her, absorbing the enormity of that news, that my best friend, at 24, had metastatic cancer. That wasn't supposed to happen. She had her first lung surgery not long after, and it was followed by 4 more lung surgeries over the years to remove tumor reoccurrences. And in the midst of it all, she tried many different chemos, and none of them ever worked. The worst chemo, as a matter of fact, was the one that she had to try right before her wedding in 2008 to Kevin. Yes, her husband stood by her side through it all. And she lost all of her hair, and she got a horrible rash, but her friends all rallied around her, and she found the perfect wig, and she was the most beautiful bride we'd ever seen. Her and Kevin would have celebrated their ninth wedding anniversary yesterday. At that point, Jocelyn took her health into her own hands because our oncologist had said it's not a matter of if these tumors return, it's a matter of when, and if they're going to be able to be operated on. So instead of getting upset, she took her health into her own hands, and she had to inject medications into herself. She saw her oncologist every 3 months for scans. She became a vegetarian, And she researched and did everything she could to learn as much as she could about the cancer and to become an advocate for her own health. And as she did that, she kept us all positive with her courageous attitude. I know I can speak for everyone at that table when I say she changed our lives and the way we live, because the way she tackled an inconceivable diagnosis. And she united all of her friends. Over the years, we participated in every cancer walk, run, hike, relay, you name it. And when she asked me, and I know Kim and Mary as well, to run a half marathon, I wanted to say, I hate running. Are you kidding? Your friend. And she still finished way before I did. It's the same way she rallied me to go back to school and get my MBA. Life is short, Lindsay. She said we should do it, and she was right. So we enrolled, and we were in the program together. And of course, her cancer came back during that time, and she went through chemo, but she still finished. And what she did is she taught me that life, like I said, is short, and she taught me how to live with no regrets. I'm so thankful that she encouraged me to always push the limits. In 2016, the dreaded news came. The cancer returned on her lung again, but this time it was constricting her pulmonary artery. And this time it would be much more difficult to operate, and it was a lot more aggressive. That's when the biggest fight of her life began. That's when she got relentless in her pursuit of alternative treatments, and her fight-like-hell attitude went into overdrive. Jocelyn was already missing much of her right lung because of all of the surgeries, so the thought of having her entire left lung removed just didn't seem possible, not for someone who worked out 5 to 6 times per week. She tackled the fight to save her lung like it was her career, and as we witnessed her bravery, she became our hero. And that's when Kristen heard about her story through my sister's coworker, Leanne. Thank you, Leanne. And she got involved in supporting our journey, and she also introduced Kevin to the story as well. And what K2 did is they helped her stay healthy. They boosted her immune system. Her attitude, we couldn't have done anything to make her attitude better, but they certainly helped keep her health where it needed to be so she could get through so many things. But they did even more than that. They became her friend, they became a support system, and they supported her not just financially, but in so many other ways to keep her strong. We will forever be grateful for that. Thank you for being part of that journey. And during that time, we decided that we were going to need a girls' trip because we knew that time was precious. So 1 year ago, actually this week, a group of us girls took a road trip to Best Friends Animal Sanctuary in Utah. It will always be one of our most cherished memories because we did what Jocelyn loved. We volunteered with the animals. And we were also a group of girlfriends that told our silly stories. We laughed until our bellies hurt, and we almost peed our pants playing charades. Jocelyn was hilarious. We have some good videos of that trip. And we were a group of friends who forgot about the cancer for a couple of days, which was a perfect trip. Because unfortunately, the cancer was too aggressive, and she had her entire lung removed a month later at the end of May 2016. For me, I was very blessed during that time because I was able to take a month off of work. And I was able to join her in many of her recovery methods, and during that time it was a cherished time because it was quality time. And we jokingly called it our fun employment. And I'm a much better and healthier person because of what she taught me during that time. In Warrior Style, even though she was only at 35% lung capacity, yes, 35%, she ended up back at Orange Theory working out with her other best friend, Mary, who's over there. It was a miracle, and honestly, it was because of the hard work, blood, sweat, and tears she put into her recovery, and the unbelievable support that she received from people like K2. So thank you for that. She did everything right, and she did everything in her power to win this fight. But the cancer came back again a few months later on her spine, which led to her almost becoming paralyzed. It also showed up in several other areas, including her brain. They did emergency spine surgery, and she underwent brain radiation while recovering. But in true Jocelyn fashion, and I'm not kidding when I say this, she became a legend at her rehab facility. It was because of her magnetic mindset to conquer one day at a time with a smile and grace. They actually had her talk to other people there just to keep their attitudes up because she was so positive even after what she'd been through. They actually put a plaque up of her in the rehab facility about her story. She got sent home in a walker, and we thought she was going to defy the odds like she always did, but her cancer just kept swinging back. And during one of her trips back to the hospital to get her pain under control, she became completely incoherent for a few days. The devastation in those days was that she lost her remarkable spirit. I realized, along with her other loved ones, that I might never get to talk to her again at that time, and I felt like there was still so much to say. So when Jocelyn woke up a few days later and was her spunky self again, it was such a miracle, even though that was the same time that the news came that there was nothing more her medical team could do, and the next step was hospice. Honestly, it didn't seem real. But Jocelyn encouraged me and all of her loved ones to embrace our additional gift of more time. And what a blessing it was to be able to express how much she meant to me and will forever impact my life. There was nothing unsaid. And we had so many great girls' nights around her hospice bed in her home. And so I'll always cherish that time. My sister said it best when she said, "You were also lucky to have each other, Lindsay. Some people go an entire lifetime and never experience a friendship like yours." And she was right. So in closing, I'll just leave you that with the Jocelyn spirit, it's going to live on through all of us because she taught us invaluable lessons about courage, perseverance, and grace. We will always feel her radiant light and hear her contagious laughter. Not many people are fortunate to know their legacy while they're still on earth, but at only 38 years old, she had defined her purpose, and she made a profound testament about the power of the human spirit. She enriched our lives with depth and meaning, and most importantly, love. Limitless, unconditional, unwavering love with her family, her husband, her friendships, and her coworkers, even strangers. A connection that united us all and will ignite passion in our hearts forever. Thank you for that, Jocelyn. I love you. Thank you.